Oh, it's warm. Really warm at the moment. But the temperature is starting to drop ever so slightly. I can sort of just feel a slight chill coming into the air. And it's very, very still. There's not a breath of wind at the moment. Oh, there we go. Do you hear that? There we go. We've got some alarm calls. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where they are. It sounds like a impala or nyala. I'm sorry, an impala or wildebeest snorting. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where it is. Okay, let's try to get in there. It's a difficult area, but we've been waiting for a clue. How long have we been here, Dave? About half an hour? Not that long. But, so that's why sometimes patience is so important. Now we have alarm calls. I'm just trying to figure the best way to get in here. It is a very difficult area. Okay, so I'm going to have to do some off-roading and some concentrating, so while I do that, let's go back to Tristan and the lazy lioness.
Well, like I said, I don't know if she's lazy today. She certainly has moved a lot and she's earned her sleep, and so I wouldn't call her lazy in any way. She's just taking a break from what's been a probably rather relentless day, that's for sure, and I'm sure she's had a really long day moving around and probably a long few weeks since wherever she's come from and whatever has happened. It's an interesting situation to have her here. I don't know how it's going to go and where she's going to end up. I can guarantee that she's not going to be on Djuma in the morning. In fact, I think that at some point this afternoon she'll probably get up. We know that she was sleeping a little bit earlier, so I'm pretty sure it's a situation where she's going to rest for a little bit now, and then as it starts to get cooler, even though it's gone down 1 degree and Brent says it's feeling cooler, I certainly don't know if I agree with that. It's still quite muggy out here, but hopefully once it gets a little cooler she'll move around. But at the moment, sleep time. Karen, you're asking how close she would need to be before hearing her pride? Well, I think it depends on whether her pride is roaring or contact calling or anything like that. But, a lot of the time, if you look at things, the Nkuhumas, they very seldom actually roar very much at all. It's normally what happens is the female that's lost an offspring will go off contact calling a lot, and she'd have to be then fairly close. I would say probably within maybe 2-mile radius if it's just contact calling, if maybe even a little less depending on terrain. If she full-blooded calls, well, then we know that they can hear in optimal conditions from quite a lot further than that, closer to sort of 4 miles. So be interesting to see. I mean, I don't know, it would also require the other pride, or her pride, trying to find her and trying to call out for her to come to wherever she may be. But like I say, don't know. I mean, we're going on the Solala name, but because of what we're being told by a lot of the others. But I'm not 100% sure if it even is a Solala lioness, but it could be. That's like I say, from what we've been told that she's a lioness from the Solala. I've heard that from the guys in the western Sabi sands and in the north and in the central. But like I say, I might be wrong completely. We think it's a Solala lioness, but there's also Manganes, there's the Mangane breakaways, there's all kinds of different lions around, and maybe she's one of them that's come out of that area. But as far as I know, like I say, from what was sent around to the rangers and what came back as the ID was the Solala girl. But who knows? I don't know the Solala makeup very well either, which means it's interesting as to whether it could be her. I just remember something about the Solalas. I know that there was a young male involved, and the only other female that I remember now that I kind of think back on it was the one that was much older than this individual and has already mated a few times. So I don't know, maybe it is, like I say, maybe there was another lioness that had cubs that we didn't see, because the Salalas split into different ways in different directions, and it was actually quite tough to kind of follow what was going on with the Salalas for quite some time, when they were broken apart into the tailless female and then the others off on their own mission. So I'm not really 100% sure on the others. We used to see the tailless female and the sub-adults quite a lot, so that was the 3 sub-adult boys and then the sub-adult female that now I'm sure is already mating. So I think it's maybe from the other one, and like I said, it could be from that Solana pride. But if it is them, then she's moved a long way, and it'll be interesting to see where she goes. Of course, she could be from a completely different pride as well, and we might just be mis-IDing it. It wouldn't be the first time that these things happen at all. Right, now while I sit here and see where this lioness goes and whether or not she's actually going to get up and move around, let's send you back across to Taylor McCurdy and see what her plans are for the rest of the morning now that she's left Kuchava.
Are we doing an all-nighter? No, I'm just joking, Tristan. Your mind is in the clouds. It's too focused on that lioness. Can you be too focused? I don't think so. We're on the airstrip now. Oh, warthogs. Clearly, I'm not focused. As you can see, I get distracted. There are 2 warthogs up ahead. Are you going to cross the runway? They look like they're coming towards us. I think that warthog is trying to figure out what on earth we are. It's a big ball, hey? Huge tusks, massive warts on the side of his face. Oh, there's more than just 2. Lots of them around there. Mina, you're wondering how far away can a warthog smell a predator? I think that's also determined on which way the wind is blowing. So if they are downwind from a predator, that scent can probably be blown a couple of 100 meters, maybe even a little bit more than that, up to a kilometer or so. I suppose there's a couple of things that depend there. I don't know if anyone has ever done an exact test. It would also be quite difficult to get a wild animal to cooperate. But this boar is not happy with us. It's like he keeps repositioning to try and get a better view of us. Now, they don't have the greatest eyesight, sadly. They've got very good sense of smell. Their hearing is not too shabby either. That was an unintentional pun. Just because I can't speak English very well. He's got very hairy ears. I don't know how well he's going to be able to hear. There's also a little bird in the grass, which I can't make out. What are you doing? You're a Senegal lapwing. I can't really see from over there. He's hiding in the grass. Come out. He's not happy though, hey Seb? No. He's dead staring you. Like it's like he's been hanging around with a buffalo lately. He's sort of giving us a typical buffalo look, and now he's forgotten that we're even there. Nope, back up again. He's a very nervous warthog. I'd also be very nervous, especially with all the commotion that's gone round. I mean, we haven't moved very far from where the lion-leopard incident happened. So perhaps he is a little bit on the nervous side, which would make a lot of sense. I'd definitely be a little bit wary as to who else is moving around in the grass. Now, our plan from here is actually to head down towards Chitwa Dam and hopefully be in for another spectacular sunset, and hopefully some hippos running around. Maybe we get those cute little ones bounding out of the water again. It'll be quite nice. Guinea fowl, I'm sure, will be present. They seem to be there every afternoon. They're very good at being on time too. Let's see how close we can get to these warthogs. Did Rebecca say something? No, she didn't say anything. It's the voices in my head talking to me now. Hello. Here's one little piglet. He's not even a piglet anymore. He's not having any of it, but the others don't seem to mind. I'm pretty sure that these warthogs won't run away from us if they're feeding here next to the airstrip. I don't think it would have, I think that they would have experienced an aeroplane taking off and landing a few times. So they should be quite relaxed. A little one. Nom, 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 nom. See that? Look at that. Just breaking off the grass at the top. Like I said, everybody's eating the grass seeds at the moment. They're delicious. Even us, even as we walk, the sawtooth love grass is quite nice to nibble on. Look at the size comparison there. From a warthog that's just a few months old to a big boar. Lovely Laurie, says Rebecca, in Final Control. You're wondering if a warthog would ever charge somebody on bushwalk? Yes. I reckon this fella would definitely be a culprit. If you get too close to their burrows and they've gone inside, they do reverse on in and have no problem zooming on out and will knock you straight off of your feet. If you get too close to a mother and her piglets, I've been chased around by a warthog before. So, yep, they will do that. They're very protective. And don't let their size fool you. They're actually a lot bigger than you think. Oh, laying down on their knees now. What have you possibly found on the sand? Nibbling at the other one's toes. It's quite sweet. I don't know what it's eating on the ground. It does look like it's nibbling its hooves. And if it goes, I'm just going to walk across the airstrip. Is that like the equivalent of doing a handstand for a warthog? Going down on your knees like that for long periods of time? It would be funny if it lifted its back legs off the ground. Here we go. Large, medium, small all lined up for you, which is also quite nice to see. You don't often get the animals aligning themselves appropriately. And golden light starting to form. What a beautiful sight. Also a change of scenery now and a change of food, feeding on some little flowers just growing on the edge of the airstrip. Oh, that's a bit rude. She could have gone round any way she wanted, and she head-butted him out of the way. Swishing those long tails. They've got very good fly swatters, the warthogs, in comparison to the size of their bodies. Nice long tails. See the technique that they're doing? It's like they're also biting down on the stem of the grass and then just closing their jaws gently enough to strip the seeds. That's quite cool, actually. I think that little piglet is wanting some affection this afternoon. Oh, that's so cool. We've been lucky. We've been spoiled with warthog sightings today. You had a good one with Brent. Now the boar is leading the sounder on into another direction, down the road. Careful, going that way, there's some lions, very hungry lions, in fact, and some leopards. Angela, you said that they are so cute. Well, yes, you see this little one has now gone, oh no, wait for me, running very quickly to catch up with the rest of the group. Off you go, you'll get eaten on your own. And there they go, down the road. Family afternoon stroll. Bye, warthogs, it was a lovely sighting. I just wish it was Wilbur leading that group. Wilbur the warthog. He's quite lovely. I have a soft spot for him. Ooh. And the drama continues. Tristan is hot on the heels of that lioness, not letting her out of his sight. Our warthogs are now vanished down the road to greener pastures. So I'm going to send you back across to Tristan, who's on Djuma.
Now, I'm not sure what Taylor is on about in Hot on Heels and drama continuing, but let's see how she goes and what she's going to pull out there. It seems as if Taylor's had the most epic afternoon and a bit of craziness all over the place. And hopefully, like I said, that little cub is okay from Kuchaba. I'm sure it will be. Our lioness, unfortunately, is still as sleepy as a sleepy can be. I suppose if she does wake up, we're not going to have her for very long, so rather we can get to spend some time with her now than her kind of just disappearing over our boundary, which you can see very, very pink nose that is quite wide at the sort of bridge, and so I wonder if anybody can try and ID her from the spots on her nose. Maybe somebody can come up with something and just clarify exactly what's going on. But like I say, I mean, from what I've heard from everybody else that has seen her over the last few days, so apparently she is a Solana lioness. Now, I wonder if she will try and hunt for herself. I know that she apparently grabbed a terrapin, but I wonder if she would go after anything larger, like scrub hares, or maybe she's going after things like duikers, steenbok. She won't be as fleet-footed as a leopard would be, and definitely probably doesn't camouflage as well, and hasn't been taught to hunt like that. So I'm interested to see kind of how she goes about it and how she ends up doing her business as she kind of tries to find the pride again, because she's going to have to feed at some point, otherwise she's just going to lose condition more and more and more. And I suppose maybe that's what's been happening, is maybe she started out in really good condition and she's just kind of losing as it goes. But if she keeps heading south, and she is from the Solana Pride, then she is heading in the right direction. She'll then be going down towards their area, which is where they are. The interesting thing for me is that she's walked a very funny route. So she was seen a few days ago sitting around the Londolozi boundary. Then she went up towards a place called Big Dam, which is on Arathusa Private. She then went up towards EP, past Simbambili, was heading towards a place called Pickaninny, Utah, which is on the northwestern side of Simbambili, and then she turned and has come all the way to Djuma, come straight down Vuyatela access to the dam, and now south down Tundam. So she's done this massive loop around, and what that indicates, I don't know. Maybe it's an area that she has walked before. If that is the case, then she's not a Salala individual, because then she must have done it. And we know that the Salalas haven't walked that route in a very, very long time, or not at least up to northern Simbambili. Right, now I'm going to kind of sit a little bit longer. I think we'll try and go and check the dam, see if there's anything coming down and having a drink and maybe some birds. While we do that, let's send you back across to Taylor McCurdy, who has got some rather large pachyderm friends.
Here's a shot that we don't often seem to get, because elephants don't often stand too still for too long. But look at how long the tufts of hair are on that Ellie's tail. And, well, we know how important tails are for a number of different things. But, of course, to something like an elephant and those warthogs we saw, a fly swatter is an excellent use. Oh, Mom has even got longer hair on her tail. Must be a family trait. Hello, big girl. Where are you off to? This is a very big elephant cow, in fact. Tall girl. Massive in body mass too. And her mammary glands seem to be swelling slightly, and I can see a bulge. I think that there is a bun in the oven, and that maybe in a few months she'll be having another calf, which will be quite cool. Lots of little Ellies on the way. We've been lucky, hey? We've been really, really spoiled. After a fairly quiet sunrise safari, the animals have really pulled up their socks for this afternoon. So thank you, animals. Was that a sneeze or a cough, Seb? A cough. I don't really know what to say when somebody coughs. Can't say bless you. I always love that look as the leaves on the bush willows start to change colour from a beautiful green, and the seed pods, as you can also see there, starting to ripen and kind of turn to that sort of rusty colour. And especially against the grey background of an elephant in the golden light, it's quite pretty. Very nice, in fact. And that's what we got to look forward to next, is all the leaves changing colour, and the bush going from greens to oranges and reds and yellows, and then eventually to nothing, which is quite sad. And in fact, amazing how it changes so quickly. So just the two of them. Perhaps they are part of a bigger herd. Maybe the rest of them are just up in front, but I can't remember seeing anybody else on the airstrip, and we've just come from that open area. Or maybe they're leading the herd. Maybe the rest of the group is still coming up from the back. I'm hoping that by the time we get to the dam, there are, of course, going to be a whole herd of elephants. That'll be the best thing that could possibly happen. Don't you all think? Have them swimming, an afternoon swim, it's hot enough. I am looking forward to watching some of those young hippos play, however. I think that's going to be quite good. Very, very nice. What a beautiful afternoon. Peaceful now. Rebecca, you can say them 100 times. I'm not going to remember them. I have to get my phone out. I'm now searching. Okay. When would you like me to do it? Right. So, as you all know, we've got a second group of schools joining us this afternoon. Now, they've just tuned in, which is quite fantastic. So, there's a long list of you all today. My memory, unfortunately, is not as good as the elephant's, so I had to whip out my phone. So, I'd like to formally welcome on the Sunset Safari. We have got the Avoca West School. You guys joined us yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Perhaps not the same class, but welcome to all of you. Sullivan Middle School from Massachusetts. Big welcome. And then, of course, the Peter Lougheed School from Alberta, Canada. Fantastic to have you all out with us this afternoon, and you're lucky that you've, well, got to meet my favorite animal in the whole wide world, elephants. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Sebastian. So I look forward to answering all of your questions. So if you have any questions for me, or about these elephants, or perhaps about the blue sky or the green grass, or anything out here in Africa, all you have to do is ask your teachers. Right, let's turn ourselves around very quickly so we can have another look. A third elephant has joined the party. Fantastic. That's the best possible news that could have started. I'm actually going to stop here. We were just talking about this elephant cow being pregnant, and now we can really see. Look at that big bulge on the side of her belly. There's a baby elephant. And speaking of baby elephants, Sebastian, look what's just popped out. Not from that elephant, of course. Run. Maybe, yeah, there we go. So that's mom and calf over there. That's so cool. Everything's working in our favor today. So there's a nice little one. You can see all the different sizes. We initially thought there were just 2 elephants here, but they all seem to be streaming out from the back. So that big girl we saw in the beginning was the matriarch. And the matriarch is basically the leader of the elephants, and it is always a female elephant that's in charge. Now, Ryan, you're wondering, what is the weight of an average elephant? Well, they can get quite big. Female elephants normally between 4.5 tons, maybe even a little bit less than that, so really big. And then an elephant bull can tower over the females. They can weigh up to 5.5 tons. That's enormous. I mean, that's really big. Say, would you like me to reposition again? Or what are you thinking? Are you happy there? Well, that's all right for now. They are on the move, though. They must have had a drink somewhere, I wonder. So she's just stopped for a little nibble. Oh. Abdullah, you're wondering now, at what speed does a group of elephants walk? Fairly quickly, sometimes very slowly, sometimes not at all. Because if they are feeding in an area that's filled with fruit and all sorts of other types of vegetation that they find particularly tasty, they might actually just walk very slowly in a circle. So it's all dependent on how much food is around and how much water is around. That will determine how far an elephant will walk in a day and how fast they'll go too. So at the moment, they're not going very quickly. You can see they're sort of zigzagging around. And there are a couple of big marula trees, which is a fruit tree in Africa, and they have actually just dropped most of their fruit. We're coming to the end of marula season, so I think that they're going to come through here and perhaps investigate around all of these trees to figure out if there are any around. Right, but it's not only the elephant, the first one of the big 5 that you're going to see this afternoon. My friend Tristan, who's sitting on another property not too far away from here, has got another surprise for you.
Indeed we do, Taylor. So we have the second of your big 5, which is a lonely lioness that is a little on the skinny side and is having a tough time of it. The very young lioness that is unfortunately somehow separated from her pride and is having tough times trying to find the pride again and trying to find food in order to survive. It's not easy out here, and so she'll be just surviving off small things until she can actually get back to the pride, because she's still too young to actually hunt for herself, which is pretty insane. Now, as Taylor mentioned a little bit earlier, my name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Craig. And remember that this is live and interactive, so we do want to hear from all of you. So remember to tell your teacher any questions you've got and ask lots and lots as we go. Now, I was saying that this lioness is kind of very skinny and is having a tough time. She's moved a lot today, and she's kind of come down towards this water hole where she's going to probably sit and hope that animals come down to drink. When she first arrived, there were lots of impalas here. Now, impalas are like our deer, and they were hanging around this water hole and in this area, and they all shouted at her. So maybe she's just waiting for them all to disappear, and hopefully new impalas will come along and she'll be able to hunt them from there. Now, Mervyn, you want to know how long lions sleep for? Well, a lion can sleep for quite some time when it wants to. They are animals that use a lot of energy very quickly when they're hunting, and so it's important for them to rest for long periods in between hunting situations. And so she'll rest for as much as 20 hours in a 24-hour period. It's a very long time. Generally, you don't see it happening all that often. Most of the time, lions are sleeping a little bit less than that, and you'll find that they sleep in bouts, so they don't sleep just 20 hours straight. They will try and kind of move around as well. Now, Melian, you want to know what would happen if I went and kind of poked that lion and woke it up while it was sleeping. Well, I can tell you right now that if I were to do that, in all likelihood, either the lion will run away before I even get anywhere near there, which is the most likely scenarios, that I will not get anywhere near that lioness. But let's say hypothetically I could get very close and I could poke the lion while it was sleeping. It would probably turn around and it would go into what's called fight or flight syndrome. So you have a 50% chance of that lion probably running, and a 50% chance of that lion turning around and absolutely maiming and goring you and eating you in every way imaginable, and you will not get out of it at all. Now, because this is a young lioness, it will probably run away, but an older, fully grown female, if you had to touch it, in all honesty, I think you would not live to tell that tale at all. You'd be probably torn apart very, very quickly. As lions, well, they've got teeth and claws that are designed to shred meat, and us humans are very soft. We have soft skin and soft bodies. We don't have claws, teeth, or horns, and so, it would be very difficult for us to fight back in any way whatsoever. Right, now, our lioness has just rolled over and is continuing her nap, so while she does that, let's send you across to somebody who, well, will never let you nap because of how loud he is, and that's Brent Leo Smith, and he wants to say hello.
Hi guys, I'm very loud and I'm very excited. I've just got a message that there's a leopard coming onto Djuma, so I'm rushing off to go find it. It's not too far from us here, so we're on a Ferrari safari, but great to have you on your very own school drive. Now, I'm going to see if I can catch up with this leopard. It's just crossed into our property from one of the neighboring properties, so I'm racing to get there. We're probably about 5 or 6 minutes out, so hold on. And send me all your questions. I'd love to have your questions. Now, leopard are one of the hardest of the big cats to see, and you've already seen light with Tristan, so I'd love to show you a leopard as well. Trying to think what's going to be the fastest way, Dave. I think we go right over here. Now, we found another leopard a little bit earlier. Her name is Tandy. She's a female. But unfortunately, she went into a very steep little ravine where we couldn't follow her. So we'll try and find her again tomorrow morning. But the male leopard that has just crossed onto our property is called Tingana. And he's a big, beautiful male leopard. So we're holding on while we try to get there. And as I say, I'd love to hear some questions from you. But while I wait for your questions to come in, I've got a question for you. What is the biggest... No, let's change that. What is the tallest mammal in the world? That is the question for you. I can't wait to see how quickly you can get it. Hello, Isaac. Isaac is wondering, how fast do leopards run? They can run at a top speed of around 70 kilometers an hour, which is about, but they don't do it for very long. And we normally measure leopard speed in meters per second because they are ambush predators. So they want to get very close to whatever they want to eat before they explode out of the grass at about 24 meters per second. Oh, hold on, Dave, big bump. Dave's my cameraman, by the way. That's why if you hear me say, Dave, hold on, or Dave, don't fall off. Hello, David. David's wondering, how rare are leopards? David, they are one of the most widespread of the big cats in the world. However, because of them being ambush predators and they've got such good camouflage that they're very difficult to see because they're very sneaky. But they are not rare in this area. We're very lucky. There's a lot of leopards around here, and we see them nearly every day. But in other parts of Africa, most people can go years only seeing leopard footprints. Hold on, big corner. Whee! So I'm just trying to get to the big main road. Avoca West School. Well done, you guys are spot on. The tallest land mammal is indeed a giraffe. Now, from talking about the tallest land mammal, let's go to the heaviest land mammal having a drink.
these cool elephants. How's that? We just thought that the elephants were hopefully going to go for a drink of water. It's not the same group of elephants that we had a little bit earlier. This is a different herd. They've already beaten the others to it, having a sip of water after a very, very hot day. I bet that they are slurping up that water at a huge rate. Now, there's some more coming, Seb. There's 2 more coming down to have a drink too. Now, David, you're wondering how long are elephants' trunks? Well, David, every elephant has a different set, not trunks, tusks. Every elephant has a different set of tusks. Some don't get tusks, some grow long ones, some grow short ones, some are thicker than others. So it really just depends on... I'm sure that was a big sneeze. My goodness, I've kicked up a lot of dust today, and I think that's what's making me sneeze so much. So it just depends, but typically the boy elephants or the males, they get much longer tusks. That little elephant looks very excited to see these others. I wonder if they know each other. Let's see. Putting its trunk out, that's how they normally greet one another. See, saying hello to the older elephant first. Very respectful, allowing the older elephant to smell it. See how they're all saying, hello, hello. We're new here. Maybe they haven't seen one another for a very long time. So they're all just saying hello, shaking hands, high-fiving perhaps, giving hugs. I don't know. Also using the luxury facilities apparently at the same time. I don't know if I'd do that if I met somebody. Let's see. I don't know if you can hear it though, but there's some rumbling going on too. There's lots of sounds coming from those elephants as they talk to one another. Even that other cow is just saying hello to the younger Ellies, and then she's going to go in for a drink. And her little calf should come on with her as it navigates through all the other legs. There we go, finding a spot. So perhaps they do know each other. Like I said, maybe they just haven't seen one another for a long time, because sometimes when herds meet, it's not always a friendly encounter. It's so peaceful out here. Now, Loch Darius, you're wondering what is the average height of an elephant? So it depends if it's a male or a female. Females are not quite as tall as... there must be more elephants, because I can hear lots of rumbling. Or it's a car. One or the two. Maybe it's a car driving close by. So let me get back to it. You're wondering how tall the elephants are. So I would say that a female would stand anywhere between 3 and 3.5 meters at her shoulder, and the males would get up to about 4 meters. Maybe just over 4 meters at their shoulders. So they're really, really big creatures. They're not small. You could probably fit in between their front legs and still have space to put your arms up. That's how big they get. They are huge animals. Look at that beautiful reflection. And the light is also turning really nice now. I'm hoping we're going to have a very nice sunset this evening. Now, we could sit here for the next 10 minutes watching these elephants drink water, and that's because they have to drink quite a bit of it. And Toya, you're wondering exactly how much water do they have to drink. So up to 120 liters of water a day. That's a lot, don't you think? So they might not drink it all at once. They might spread it out and have some water during the day and then have some more in the afternoon. It's been very hot, so these Ellies are probably enjoying a thirst quencher. I suppose it's like having a Coca-Cola or a, Lucozade or Gatorade or something like that after a long day of exercising. It's always quite nice. That one's trying to steal it straight out of its trunk. Give that back. It's naughty. Maybe some of these little elephants are going to have a swim too. Elephants love swimming. It's their favorite thing in the whole wide world. Ooh, here's a good question from Ali Emma, and that is, how are elephants important to the ecosystem of the park? Every single animal, from the mammals to the fish to the birds to the insects, have a very, very special role in the environment. Now, Those are hippos that you can hear in the distance. We'll have a look at them at some point. Now, the elephants have a number of different roles. Firstly, one thing that elephants are largely responsible for is seed dispersal, because they eat a lot of fruit. They eat lots of seed pods. So in their dung, you'll often find an entire seed pod being left behind because they don't have a very good digestive system. They don't digest all their food. So by the elephants feeding on the fruits and the seed pods, they're actually taking away a sort of waxy coating on the seed pod, which makes it easier when it does hit the ground in a ball of compost and a bit of rain comes about. That seed is going to grow very, very quickly. So that's one thing. The other thing is that is quite amazing, is that elephants like to push over trees, not because they're destructive, but at certain times of the year, coming into winter, there's not a lot of food around, so they'll often push down big trees to feed on the tops of their leaves and also to feed on the roots. And even though that doesn't sound like it's going to be a good role to the ecosystem, they provide housing for a lot of other animals. So things like squirrels and lizards and insects and scorpions and all sorts of things that actually live in that tree that's now fallen on the ground. And then they're also giving a helping hand. So an animal that's smaller than an elephant and maybe can't reach the tops of the leaves could even come down in winter and have a nibble on those leaves that are now right down close to the ground. Now, I promise you these aren't circus elephants, even though they seem to be behaving like them. But like I said to you, elephants are the happiest when they're in the water. They love swimming, and they're really, really good swimmers too. Even the cows are getting involved today, slapping their trunks against the water, and I bet that must feel so nice on their bodies. That little one is getting right on underneath. It's actually rolling around in between the legs. You can just see the trunk sticking out. Oh, wow. You are all in for a real treat this afternoon. Brent has not found you a lion, but he's found you the other big cat in Africa.
Well, here we go. We've got a beautiful big male leopard named Tingana. And he's looking a bit hungry, so he's on the hunt. So let's stick with him. At this time of the day, as it starts to get cooler, your big cats get on the move and start hunting. Oh, he's going into some thick stuff there. Oh, it looks like he might have spotted something. Here we go. He's definitely interested in something. There could be impala here, there could be waterbuck. See how he stops and he listens. Because you must remember, he's quite low in the grass compared to a human being, so he can't always see what we can see up above. So he has to use his sense of smell, his ears. Now, isn't this fun? Not only are we following a leopard, we're driving off-road through the bush. Clark is wondering what part of Africa we're in. Clark, we're in the southern part of Africa, on the eastern side of a country called South Africa, and we're in an unfenced wilderness that's about 2.5 million hectares called the Greater Kruger National Park, and we're in the northern Sabi sands, and we have been on two game reserves called Djuma and Chitwa private game reserves this afternoon on your safari. Alex is wondering how thick is the vegetation. It's varied, Alex. You've got some areas that are very, very thick, and you've got some areas that are more open. It is what we call savanna. Well, in this case, it's a very specific type of savanna. It's called broad-leaved woodland, made up mostly of terminalia, marula, combretum, and acacia trees. Isn't he beautiful? So you can see that big, thick neck of his. Now, that hanging skin there is called a dewlap, and that helps him when he's fighting with other male leopards to have a little bit of protection. Hello, big boy. Jonah is wondering how important leopards are to Africa. Well, very, very important. All the animals are important. Each animal has its own niche in the ecosystem, and if you remove any one of them, something else will suffer. So he's just listening very carefully. Wilna is wondering, are leopards bigger than, stronger than lions? Not at all. Even a small lioness is bigger than him, and he's a very big adult male. So a male lion in this area averages around 190 to 200 kilograms. Adult lioness around 100 to 115 kilograms. A really big male leopard, maybe 90 kilograms. Oh, has he spotted something? See how focused he is. There might be something up ahead there. It could be waterbuck, impala, and nyala. There's a whole host of different animals that he could be stalking at the moment. I can't see anything through the bush at the moment, but that's one of the reasons why I'm not parked directly behind him. I'm parked to the side. I don't want to interfere in his hunt. While we see what the leopard does next, where he heads to, let's go to Taylor, who's got some playful pachyderms.
We've got the coolest sighting ever this afternoon. These elephants are really, really, really swimming now. Have a little listen to them. That one must have got a bit of water in its eye. It kind of looks like me in the shower when I accidentally open my eyes when I'm washing my hair. And probably giving them a good clean too. And get lots and lots of dust in their eyes. And the reason why they need to make sure they give them a good dust is Seb, actually just above them on the dam wall, there's some elephants that are covering themselves with dust. So now you can see why they need to give themselves a chance to wash their eyes. They're doing it all wrong. They're doing it in reverse. You're first supposed to bath in the water and then you're supposed to get out and cover yourself in dust. That's how it normally happens. Well, that's very cool. Look at the way they're blowing the dust up with their trunks. That would be an awesome photo. Oh, wow. So this is the next herd that's making their way down the steep bank. I can't get over this. Now, oh, come on, little baby elephant. I can't wait to see that little one come down. Sorry, Caden, I'm getting distracted. You were wondering how many species of elephants are there? Well, there should only be the Asian elephant and then also the African elephant, which is the one that we're getting. But then you do get subspecies. So you also get the forest elephant, which you can see in Gabon and even in the Congo. But down here, we're looking at the savannan elephant. Look at them all go. That's so cool. I wonder what this herd of elephants is going to think of the ones that are walking up on the dam wall. They're probably thinking, silly, come on, get in. Come have a swim. The water's great. Well, that's what I'd be shouting if I were the elephants that are swimming around. There is so much going on at this dam tonight. It is insane. We haven't even got to the hippos just yet. We'll get there eventually, though. We will definitely get there. Little elephant is not sure, sticking close to mom as well. But I think they're going to come into the same area. Let's see, have you even spotted that there's other elephants coming down yet? Beautiful. That's a very young elephant. Now, Isaac, you're wondering, how do elephants defend themselves? Well, they're massive in size, firstly. So just with that. And then they've got tusks, which they can use as well. Very big trunks. Look, they don't look too happy, eh? Look at this. Ooh, mom on top is protecting her little baby, saying, stand back, get behind me, I'll sort this out. Looks like there's going to be an argument between the two moms. It's like somebody's stolen somebody's parking spot. Or pull chairs. There we go. Belinda, if you just saw that elephant that shook its head, then she answered your question for you, wondering how can you tell when an elephant is mad. There are a number of different signs. They shake their heads, they trumpet, they move their tails away from their body, they open their ears, they flare them out, and they talk to one another. Well, it doesn't look too bad. Perhaps it was just a little bit of confusion. Maybe they didn't know what was going on, but it actually seems to be quite calm now. All saying hello to one another again. All settling in. It'd be interesting to see what that big cow does at the back. If she's going to come in and greet the matriarch of the smaller herd of elephants. No, she's chasing them away. She's sending them off. She's saying, your pool time is over. It's our chance now. Hello, guys. Well, elephants are very social creatures. Very, very social. Not just with other elephants, but within their own members within the herd too. This is beautiful to see all these interactions. So many different things happening at once. Now, as we look at the elephants, we see the things that I'm drawn to most are their big ears, their tusks and their trunks. And Tasha, you're wondering if their trunks are their main tool. I suppose in combination with their tusks. But yes, their trunk is like an arm, really. That's what they're using to reach out and pull leaves off of branches, to strip the grass, to pick fruits. So they use that. Oh no. Wait, don't come near me. That elephant cow is chasing the others, but they're going to chase them straight towards me. So I just need to be careful and get out the way. Not that they cross with me. But I'm pretty sure they'd just run past the car, but I don't want to get stuck in between a dispute, that's for sure. Not these big animals. But then they also use their tusks, Tasha, for digging, for stripping bark, for doing all sorts of other things too. But we'll chat about that a little bit more in a bit. I'm going to send you across to Brent, and I think he's got an antelope of some sort.
Well, we have a waterbuck. And that's what our leopard is after. The waterbuck does not know that the leopard is stalking it. So there's still quite a bit of distance, probably about 40 or 50 meters. And the leopard needs to be within, at the furthest, 10 meters to make a successful attempt. And the leopard's just over there, watching the waterbuck, probably more listening than watching. And now you'll see how well his camouflage works. You can see how the rosettes break up his outline. There he is there. He's not too hungry, but predators are opportunists. And if he can get a nice easy meal, he's not going to say no. Nitin is wondering, what type of animals do leopards eat? Nitin, small to medium-sized antelope. The waterbuck would be very big for him. The waterbuck's moved. I've lost sight of it now if he's watching the leopard. Now, okay, I've got it again. It's moving sort of behind us to the right here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it through the bushes, Dave. Just on the other side of this bush is where the waterbuck is, and it's not facing towards the leopard. Now, that's a very big kill, but he is a big adult male leopard, so he is capable of taking it down. The problem with taking down a kill of that size is that even though he's so strong, leopards normally take their food up trees, but that waterbuck will be too big for him to carry up a tree, so hyenas or lions might steal it from him. See how still he keeps while he's stalking, and when he moves, he'll actually put his back foot exactly where he puts his front foot. Now, what this does is make sure that he doesn't step on any branches or make any noise that might give away his position. Okay, now we're going to put on some special infrared lights as it gets dark so we can see what's happening in the dark without putting spotlights on and disturbing the leopard. So while we do that, let's go back to Taylor and some playful hippos.
Yes, we have got lots of playful animals today. There's a few opening their mouths. Look at that one. So we heard the hippos making a bit of a noise a little bit earlier. Now we get to see them. And there's a little baby hippo also in front of Mum. And they are getting very excited at this time of the evening. It's the best time ever for a hippo, because they're going to come out of the water soon. We might be lucky enough to see some actually come out of the water. Yesterday afternoon we were very, very, very lucky to see them come out of the water. It was really quite cool. Let's see. The little ones keep climbing out of the banks. Oh no. The hippos are now not playing as much. And the elephants are all going back in the water. Shall we rather watch the elephants swim? What do you think, Seb? I think it's a little bit more entertaining. Look at this one, right? Oi, where are you going? I hope you're not charging us, mister. Or Mrs. Mister. Little mister. Are we just looking behind the car? We'll shuffle around slightly. Seems like that herd, is it the same herd that was gone back in the water? I can't see now, it looks like it. What have these impala seen now? Can you hear the other animal alarming? So there's lots of animals all coming down to have a drink. Those antelope in the distance are called impala. That's actually the favourite food of the leopard. And they're starting to alarm call now. Maybe it's nothing serious. Maybe one just got a fright and was just in case telling everybody, be on alert, be on alert. Okay, let's go back. The hippos don't want to play. Well, there's all sorts of things happening out here. We also need to put our special infrared light on, so I'm going to send you to Tristan, whose lion is still fast asleep.
Well, Taylor, for you guys, there seems to be a lot happening. For us, our lioness has really not moved a single muscle since the last time you saw us, and it's really sleepy at the moment. So, Jeremy, lions will hunt, it's dependent. They're opportunistic animals, which means that they will hunt anytime they get a chance to. If there's something that comes along that they want to try eat, they'll go after it. But in sort of general, we find that lions will normally eat about every 3 days, 3 to 4 days, but they can sometimes go every single day. Sometimes they can even catch more than one animal in a single day. So it's very difficult to say how often lions eat. It just depends on conditions, how they go, and whether or not they can actually find the food that they need. And if they are feeding well, then sometimes it's, like I say, will be every day, every 2 days. We had a drought about 2 years ago, and during that period, the lions were killing pretty much more than one buffalo a day, and they were eating just the best parts and then moving off and getting another one. So it's quite interesting. It just depends on time of the year, and each pride will have different success rates. But if we had to average it out on lions in general, it would be about every 3 days that they kind of find food in some form. Rouge, this lion, it's difficult to say exactly how old it is because we don't know this lion very well. She's not from this area. She just arrived here today. But we think that she's around about 15 months. 15, 16 months is roughly where I would guess. So just over a year old, which is still very young. She should theoretically still be with her pride and should still be where her mom is. And so hopefully she'll find a way to get back towards that area and find where her mom is so she can be looked after. Mostly lions will stay with their mothers as dependent on the mom up until they're around 3.5 years old. So she's still got a bit of a way to go until she's okay. It's difficult also to age her because, you know, there's a lot of factors predators that change on lions. And so normally what you'd use is the color of her nose, the size of her body. And so her nose is still very pink, which indicates generally that they're a little bit younger. You do get pink-nosed lions that are older, but it's a rough thing that you can use. And the size of her body indicates an animal that is about a year and a half, somewhere there. So still got a lot of growing to do. She's still going to get bigger, and you can see lots of scars on her at the moment from where she's been bitten by a number of different animals. Now, and you're asking if lions travel in packs. So we don't call them packs, we call it prides that they travel in. And they do move around in prides, yes. So what you will find is that the females and their cubs form prides, whereas the males will form a coalition if they are in groups together. Sometimes they'll be on their own, but most of the time in this area they form a coalition, which could be 3, 4, 5, sometimes even 6 male lions that walk around together. But females and their cubs, they form prides and they'll kind of move around together. What sometimes happens though is that you get a situation where either hyenas or male lions have attacked a pride and they've split them, and then that's when you get a situation like this where a lioness is on her own and moving around trying to find her pride. Or it could be a situation where a lioness maybe tries to go and have cubs. This lioness is too young to have cubs, but if they go and have cubs, then sometimes they can be on their own as well. So it just depends on kind of age and whether they are able to sort of move off on their own. Now, Richard, you were wondering if this lion was pregnant. So no, she's still too young to have cubs. She would generally only have cubs at around 4 years old, so she's got about 2.5 to 3 years to go until she would have cubs, which is a long way for her, so she's still a little bit small for that. And you find if she was pregnant, you would know straight away. She gets a big round tummy, and it becomes quite easy to tell that she's got little cubs around. And even if she was pregnant, I'd be very surprised to see her this side, because they generally will try and den somewhere close to where the pride is. Berman, different types of cats will generally hunt each other. And then when hunt is probably not the right word, is that they will chase each other. And the reason for that is competition, not only for food, but also safety. So in the terms of the scales, lions typically are on top and they chase everybody. You'll find that leopard can try and go after young lions, so little lion cubs. Hyenas will also go after lion cubs, but when a lion is fully grown, there's very little that will chase them. But in terms of leopards, lions can chase leopards and kill them. Lions will chase cheetah, they'll chase wild dogs, they'll chase hyenas, jackals, and so all of the other predators have to be scared of lions, and then each one can kind of go after each other's offspring. But for the most part, you'll find that they try and avoid each other as much as possible. They don't actually go looking to find a lion for food or for food. They'll have a situation where they'd much rather eat an antelope or a buffalo or something like that and leave the rest, to themselves, because at the end of the day, going after a leopard or anything like that is sometimes dangerous. They've got claws and teeth themselves, and they could inflict an injury, and it's trying to kind of stay away from them as much as possible. And the only reason lions chase leopards is more out of a safety for their cubs and those kind of things, and also because they often can rob a leopard for food. And same with wild dogs and hyenas. If they find them eating something, they can run in and take that food from them. So it just depends on how big you are, but the bigger you are, the more of the predator able to dominate and to chase around and shift off. And I think our lioness is going to have a long nap. She's moved throughout the day, and so still not moving around at all. I don't think she's really going to be doing too much. I think she's going to sit tight and just sleep it out until it gets very dark. I was hoping for a second that there was going to be an elephant coming this way, because we did see an elephant just now moving in this direction, but it just didn't pop out from behind the bush. And so while we see if maybe that Ellie does come, let's send you back across to Taylor, who had lots and lots of things going on, and I wonder what's happening now.
Look at the baby hippo. Look how cute it is. Look at all those rolls of fat. Yes, and look at me. I can reverse back into the water. That was an interesting way to go back in. Very playful, very happy, very young, in fact. There's actually another one even closer, Seb. It looked like it might come out the water. We might get a chance to actually see how big they are. Look at that. And another baby. Yes, come on, hippos, aren't you yet? Oh, this is so cool. We're very lucky today. We've had the best game drive ever. It's been one of the better ones that I've indeed been on. Sometimes the bush can be very quiet. And I think it was putting on a show for all of you this evening, so you count yourselves very lucky. You're going to try infrared. Seb's going to put his infrared on. We're going to see what it's like. There we go. Now we're in black and white. Now, Hayley, you're wondering what is the lifespan of a hippo? Well, I suppose they can live to about 30 years old, maybe even a little bit less than that. I always say that animals will live a lot longer when they're in captivity, which they shouldn't be. It's best that they're living out here. But in the wild, it's a tough life for them. So that was actually a young boy. That wasn't that hippo's mother, in fact. I was mistaken. Being like a submarine now, going underwater. All the little ones trying to follow in suit. That wasn't a very big hippo bull. He's still quite young. There'll be much bigger ones out here. There's also lots of mosquitoes that are now trying to bite Sebastian and I and steal our blood without our permission. How dare they? Hey, Seb? Very rude of them. So you may hear me stomping my feet every now and then to try and get them to stop biting me, because I'd always put insect repellent on before I go out on safari, but I probably should have brought some with me this evening to spray on my legs, but I didn't. So it serves me right, or not. Seb's blowing all the insects that are biting his face now. Oh my goodness. But of course we are at the water's edge, so not only are there hippos that are living in here and all sorts of birds, there's fish and definitely lots and lots of insects, and hopefully we're going to see some frogs a little bit later too. And that's the idea. They're the hippos enjoying a midnight swim. They're skinny dipping. Close your eyes. All the elephants. Oh, I meant not hippos. I meant to say elephants. Here I am sitting watching the elephants swim around. All coming out the water now. I bet they've been told, the young kids, get out the pool, it's getting dark. Mom has called them on out now and said, right, fun time is over. Now, speaking about hippos, which Seb will find you some now. Hector, you're wondering how long can hippos stay underwater for? For quite some time, for about 6 minutes or so, they can hold their breath, so that's quite a long time. I don't think any of us could hold our breaths that long without some proper training. The elephants are now coming here. Hang on, Seb. Oi! Not in the dark, please, elephant. Hey, stop it. They're not happy with me now, because the light is not very good, you see. It's getting quite dark. I'm almost not able to see without my lights, and Mom has come over and said, I don't like you anymore, I don't trust you, I don't know what you're all doing. So I'm going to move out of this elephant's way. Bye! Stop being so grumpy. Look at them. Where are they going? Charging off to another herd of elephants again. And that's a lodge that you can see in the background. But I hope that all of you who joined from the various schools enjoyed this afternoon's safari. It was magical, seeing lions and leopards and elephants and hippos doing all sorts of crazy things. But we hope, of course, that you join us again soon for another magical drive. But until then, it's been great having you aboard the largest safari vehicle in the world, and we hope you learned something. Very cool. Oh, well, and for the rest of you that are going to continue watching, I'm going to send you across to Brent to see what Tingana is up to.
Well, poor Tingana didn't manage to catch the waterbuck. They spotted him and they snorted profusely, and he went into these very thick bushes here. I was just trying to get one last look. I mean, let's try from above. Other than that, it's time to go frogging. I'm going to look for some frogs. I think it's going to be much harder to find frogs than leopards today. It's not the best time of the year for frogging, right at the end of summer, but we shall try. I'm wondering if Tristan's got the same plan as me, because there's one spot I think there might be some noisy frogs left on Djuma. And I know Tristan knows his frogs as well, so I'm wondering if we've got the same plan. Well, I'm going to have to drive down to my spot and find out. But in the meantime, let's go see if Tristan's managed to find an amphibian or three.
Well, no. So no amphibians yet. I've scanned around. I'm pretty sure Brent is going to head exactly where I am right now, because this is probably one of the best spots that we're at for frogs. So when we get rains and you come and sit here, you will hear frogs non-stop calling from this area. In fact, I remember a morning a few weeks ago when it had rained and we sat here, and I think we had about 7 or 8 different species just sitting here from their calls. Now, I've scanned around on the pan to my right-hand side and my left-hand side. I'll show you on the right-hand side quickly. Now, I've tried to look around with the spotlight, trying to just kind of see if I can find any sign of any frog eyes in the water. Maybe what's that there? There might be a frog. Now, just to the left, Craig, there somewhere. Is there a frog there? It's got an eye shining back at me, which could just be a spider, one of the water spiders. I don't see any frogs there now, so we'll just keep scanning across, but there's definitely a little eye that's shining back at me. So I'll just keep going across and trying to see what else I can find. I don't see there, what's that in the background as well? Somewhere in there. So difficult to find them. Oh, there was one. Did you see the one jump? Did you see that one kind of get out and jump into the water? Now it's gone underneath, so I don't know where it is now, but it definitely was a frog that jumped in there. So it didn't see which frog it was, but there was a frog nonetheless that jumped into the water from that section. Now let's try and see if we can find any others. Maybe if I just keep my light on the grasses, some of the frogs will start jumping around, getting to the insects that are coming. Now what I can tell you is that there are a lot of insects around here, so there's a bit of disturbance in the water. Maybe we'll find something here, Craig. Now what we're looking for is we're looking for a number of different species in this area. So we've got banded rubber frogs, we've got tremolo sand frogs, knocking sand frog, we'll have banded rubber, leaf folding frog, water lily frog, so lots of different ones that could be in this section, but I don't see anything there. So Kestrel, you're asking about toxic frog species and whether South Africa's got any. So South Africa does have a few. The one is called the banded rubber, which is one that I was just chatting to you about right now. I'm actually going to try and get a picture for you on it, so I'll try and leave my spotlight there while trying to find a picture. Just give me 2 seconds quickly. I've got to just get my app open so that I can find it. Banded rubber frog. So they exude a toxin that is not very nice at all. There we go. Alright, Craig, so I've got it on my dashboard, which is going to help Craig quite a bit. But there we go. So that's the little banded rubber frog. There we go. Let's get the glare off. Beautiful little frog, black with that red, and that always tells you about aposematic coloration, that these guys are toxic. So they exude a little bit of toxins through their skin, and that makes them not very good at all. So you don't want to eat one of those because you're not going to feel very well. And they're one of my favorite frogs because they make a really cool call. I know Taylor absolutely loves banded rubber frogs, and she saw her first ones last year, so it was very cool for her. Hopefully we'll get some tonight somewhere in this area. Now, I'm looking also on this left side because this is also a little pan that we've got here. Billy, who's 5 years old, you're asking, are there any blue frogs in this area? So, Billy, no blue frogs or outright blue frogs. So we don't have any of those poison dart frogs that get that kind of blue coloration. Most of our frogs here are green or brown. You find a lot of frogs that will have a brown coloration. Very few of them have blue at all because, well, blue would stand out quite a bit in this environment. Most of our tones are greens and browns, and so that helps. But I don't see any frogs here. I'm not hearing any frogs either. So maybe we'll try a different pan. We'll try and see what else we can find somewhere along the line. I thought this would be a good one because of all the reeded vegetation. Maybe we're going to get some painted reed frog somewhere in there, or even a foamless tree frog somewhere, but there's not even any fresh signs of foamless trees frogs either. So we'll have our work cut out for us to try and find little froglets and froggies around today. I'm just going to have one last scan before we leave here on the right hand side, just to double check. Nothing in the tree. No, nothing there. Okay, let's try and see if we can check before I leave here. I just want to try one more thing. That do not have a James, I'm honestly not sure. I don't think so. I think they all go through a tadpole situation. Now, apparently I've got some gremlins and I've also got a scrub here in front. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think so. As far as I know it, all of them are in a tadpole phase and go through into a adult frog, particularly the ones that occur here in this part of the world, but or in this part of South Africa. I'm not sure in the rest of South Africa, but I'd be interested to know. Maybe somebody else can help us out with that. #Safari Life. Now, I'm going to carry on. Like I said, try to reposition myself, see if I can find some froggies. While I do that, I'm not sure who I'm sending it to. Well, I'm not sure who I'm going to send you to. There we go. I'll get it out eventually. But either one of them is absolutely frog crazy, and so I'm pretty sure that they'll be entertaining.
Well, we're just trying to get to the water's edge. We've been chased around by elephants. We've had hippos pushing us out of the way. So I'm trying to find a spot where we can frog in peace and quiet, but it's proving to be quite difficult. There was a frog hopping across the surface of the water. Looks like there's maybe something here. We'll have a look now and just get into position. Should put some extra light on over here. Let's see who's sitting on the surface of the water. I can hear some frogs. Maybe some reed frogs. Are you still, what are you in, Seb? Infrared colour? I'm trying to shuffle out of the way. We're just deciding what's going to be best. I can hear the frogs. See, there's lots of things moving. I just know they don't like the light so much. Let me see if I can find one that's sitting on the edge of the water. Actually, have a little listen. It's beautiful. Now, what's that over there? Is that a crocodile? By that log? It's a baby crocodile. Snappy! If you go to the left. Yeah, look.
Oh, sorry, yeah, okay.
Oh, cool. There we go. Well, we didn't find a frog. We found a crocodile. And then there's some shining eyes. Can you see all the reflections on the left, on the sand, if you look where my spotlight has gone? There's lots of reflections coming. There might be some little frogs, or maybe they're spiders. You see them, they're moving. I think they might be all little insects. And we have got a question, which we'll get to in a minute. Are they little frogs? Might be little cacos out of the water. I'm just trying to find us something good to have a look at. And sure, being eaten alive here by mosquitoes. This is so much fun. Seb, I don't know where you want to have a look. And then I shall get to answering the question. Trying to answer and shine the spotlight. It's all lots of fun. Should we just look at the crocodile, seeing as though it's an animal? And maybe a frog swims on by. So I shall put the spotlight on it as well. Some hippos moving around in the difference. African Wanderer, you were wondering what are the differences between frogs and toads? Well, it helps if we can catch one and have a proper look at it. And so typically if you look at the skin, because that's the first thing that you're going to see, frogs have got a much smoother skin than the toads. Toads tend to be a little bit on the lumpy side. See how the crocodile's actually turned its head? It's watching the hippos move around now, just keeping an eye out on it. And a lot of the frog species tend to live in water. Although the bushveld rain frog, they also come out. There's always exceptions. Whereas I always find toads, moving around quite a bit outside of water on the go. And then it's also got to do with their eggs. So now we're going to play a game. How? I'm not going to tell you this one. Who lays their eggs in strings and who lays their eggs in clumps? #Safari Live. Let's see if anybody can guess that. It's not a difficult one. I'm sure there are going to be quite a few of you that will be able to get that pretty quickly. So we shall wait. And hopefully get some answers that come through. What have we got here? Is it a frog? That little eye that's moving around. That's what I was looking at earlier. I don't know if it's a spider, maybe running along the ground. It's so hard to see, and they're so tiny. No, I think they're insects. I don't think we're going to win with frogs, unfortunately, this evening. Frogging is always very difficult. It helps when it has just rained and you get all the frogs coming out. You can hear them, though. They definitely are there. They're in the reeds at the moment. They are definitely in the reeds. We can't get there because otherwise the car is going to sink. Now, we could find lots and lots of different frog species here. Seb, actually, if I shine my light on those insects, can you see them? Now, theoretically, there should be all sorts of frogs moving around here, and I can see the water moving about. I mean, they'll be trying to catch all these insects. You see that? Are those frogs? I'm trying to look with the monitor because Seb can zoom in a little bit more. So there might be frogs in there. Maybe if we just hold the spotlight still for long enough and I let mosquitoes suck my blood, it'll help. Going up my nose. This is terrible. We've got all the lights on in the car to try and give as much light as possible. And all the hippos now shouting at us because we are in their pathways that they want to walk out of. I'm so sorry, Bex. Can you please say that again? The hippos are so loud that I couldn't hear what you just said to me. Ah, there we go. Well done, Eloise. You got the answer correct. You said frogs lay their eggs in clumps and toads in threads or strings. You're quite correct in that. I'm having a competition this evening competing with the elephants that are swimming around splashing. All the water thickneys and blacksmith lapwings, as well as the hippos that are, like I said, shouting at me because I want to leave the water and I apparently keep parking in the ways that they're trying to get out. Right, I'm going to go across. I'm not going to go anywhere. Oh, there is ours. I'm going to send you across to Brent now, and we're going to try and see if we can find some more frogs. But I think Brent has forgotten what a pan looks like.
It seems like Tristan, Taylor, and myself all had the same plan to go to that little pan behind behind Twin Dams. It's the only one that's got grass at the moment, so the only place at the end of summer that you might just have the slightest chance of finding a frog. Unfortunately, there is a lioness there as well, and no frogs. And I even tried to catch Tristan. So I was sitting nearby there, and I was thinking, okay, let's have a trick. So I started playing this to see if Tristan might go, ooh, but I think he knew it was me. But that is quite a common toad we get here. That is the eastern olive toad. I'll show you a picture of him. Oopsie. Went a bit too. There we go. Zoom. There we go. That is the eastern olive toad. So quite common. He likes to climb into people's shoes, in the kitchens, and during the height of summer, they can often be found underneath the light and collecting all the insects that the lights fall. Now, wait, no, Dave, I'm not done yet, Dave. Now, if you have a look behind his eye, you see there's a raised section there, and that is called a bufo gland, and that has poison in it, bufotoxins, and all the toad species. So they are frogs. Toads are frogs, so they are not a separate family or whatever. They are frogs, but that secretes the bufotoxin. Now, if you've ever had a dog or a cat try attack a toad, and they start foaming at the mouth, that's from the secretions from that bufo gland. Now, there's another old wives' tale about frogs and toads. If you catch them, if they urinate on you, it will cause warts. That is not true. That is absolute for this area. Oh, apologies. I think I went through a little hole there that I lost signal. Now, my favorite call that we hear out here during the summer months, I'm just trying to find it for you here now, there we go, is the banded rubber frog. Now, we're not probably going to see any frogs this evening, but we can definitely play you some frog calls, and I think we should have a frog call competition. I'm going to play you the call of the banded rubber frog, and then I'm going to try my best to imitate it, and I think we should get Taylor and Tristan to all try imitate the banded rubber frog, and you guys can decide who has got the best banded rubber frog imitation. What do you think, Dave? Do you want to try a banded rubber frog? Oh, there we go. Dave's such a good sport because he chased the warthogs earlier. He has to be. Okay, so this is the banded rubber frog. Very pretty frog. Let me show you first. So it's got aposematic coloring, so it's red and black, and that tells all the other animals that it is noxious, that it secretes poison, so they do not eat it. You can pick it up, you can handle it with your hands, as long as you don't put it in your mouth. And that's very bad. But now let's play the call. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, there's my banded rubber frog. Dave, your banded rubber frog? We can't get high enough, I think is the problem. Let me just listen one more time, see if I can do it a little bit better. We were definitely too low. Let's see what Tristan can do.
Brent Leo Smith. I don't know what it is about him and challenges and why we always get ourselves into these situations, but we'll give it a bash nonetheless. Craig is being very shy. He says he's not doing it at all because he just doesn't want to, and that, I think, is unfair. Craig, you've got to do it once at least. Do you know how it goes, Craig? Okay, well, we'll do it just now. But it's not fair also that Brent had 2 shots at it. I feel like he should have just done one, because his first one sounded a bit like a sick elephant. And the problem with a banded rubber is it's a very metallic sound to it. So we'll try it, but I'm not sure how it's going to go. So it goes something along the lines of... but a lot higher pitch. So I'll have to think about it and try and get... I think Taylor might actually get this a bit better than what I would. But something like that, Craig. Do you want to listen to it, and then you can try? Come on, Craig, you have to. It's part of International Frog Day. World Frog Day, should I say. All right, Craig, here you go. Okay. Okay, Craig, off you go. Now wait, hold on, we've got to get Craig. Craig, go. You got to do it loud. So Craig's was... No, Craig. You've got to do it higher pitch, Craig, and longer than what you did. But anyway... we tried. Hopefully Brent will keep quiet now and he won't give us as much trouble. But we've come to Chelapan anyway to try and see if we could find any other frogs that might be moving about, but we have failed miserably. I haven't found a single set of eyes that resembles a frog anywhere in this area. So I think we'll try maybe one more pan close by and see what we can find. While we do that, let's send you over to Taylor Mack and see how her banded rubber frog goes.
Well, we've also decided to move from a pan. We're just having a very quick look around here at Wilbur's pan, just off of Gowrie Main, but no luck, right, I suppose. I'm going to have to give it a bash now, hey, Seb? That's this banded rubber frog call. Well, I hope you're ready for it. I've got the higher pitched voice of the boys, so I think I'm going to be able to do it quite well. No, wait, hold. I don't think the boys could do it as high pitched as I can. I feel like theirs was more. No, I can't even go lower than that. No, can't make that sound. Can only do it with a high pitch. Brent says I sound like an angry elephant. If I was an angry elephant, I probably would have gone like that. But I'm doing a completely different action with my mouth when I'm a banded rubber frog, because that is. No, I'm not going to do any more. I'm done doing frog calls until next year. Right, for those of you that think Brent was really good, or Tristan was really good, or if you think that I won that, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, let us know what you think. And, well, we look forward to hearing what the answers are going to be. Now, I'm actually hoping to find a banded rubber frog here. They're really quite cool. The pans on Shibamo are epic because you often hear them there. So I'm just going to scan slowly along the water's edge. And, ooh, the mosquito went into my ear. And they don't really hop. They actually walk, which is quite cool. Sorry, Seb. I'm now swatting at all the insects. Debbie, you're wondering what can we do to help the frogs survive? I suppose stop taking away their habitat would be the biggest thing. Stop building big roads in, what's that, Seb? A frog? No, it's a leafosaurus. You know, I know in Cape Town there's big issues at the moment. There's big fights. There's massive highways that are wanting to be put in that go through wetlands, and obviously all the conservationists are fighting this because they're saying that you're taking away valuable habitat to, you know, frog species, not just frog species, but a lot of different animal species. So that would be the good one. Pollution, so illegally dumping of chemicals, pesticides, all these different things, sewage into freshwater systems. Because, of course, we know how sensitive frogs are to the environment. So that's another one. And just being cautious even while you're driving. If you do see some frogs that are out on the road, try and avoid them the best of your possibility. Of course, I don't think there's anybody out there that would be malicious enough to intentionally drive over frogs. But when you are driving quite quickly, there's something moving there. You saw that, hey, Seb? Straight in there, but it's so far away, it's hard to tell. I don't know, it might have been a little water insect, a bug of sorts. And you can try and do that as well. Otherwise, we just need to, of course, take care about the way that we get rid of things. And then, of course, well, put a stop to getting rid of all their wonderful land. Where are the frogs? There's not even one making a noise here tonight, Seb, hey? Yeah. It's very quiet. I'm scanning all over. Let me check quickly, have a quick squiz here. No, we're not winning at this pan, I'm afraid. This is a very quiet one. There were lots of chirping frogs in Chitwa Dam, but not in the right area that we could get to. Right. Brent's going to tell you a couple more things about frogs, and hopefully we'll announce the winner as to who did the best banded rubber call. So, not the banded rubber frog call. Off we go, back across to Brent.
Taylor, the frogs are hibernating, which is the end of summer. They have gone into hiding to avoid being eaten, and all the tadpoles. We might have actually found some tadpoles if we looked hard enough, but not many, I don't think. But yes. Well, just the last thing on frogs. World Frog Day is just at a very inconvenient time for us to find frogs. But they are incredibly important, and they are one of the indicator species in an ecosystem, and when you start losing frogs, it means your bigger things are often to follow. So it's something we really need to look after and conserve. Now I'm going to have, what do you think, shall I have one more try at the banded rubber frog, Dave? Okay, you ready? I just need to draw myself towards myself. See, Tristan's commenting from the corner. We're having a little chat. Okay, you ready, Dave? No, I was just joking. Apparently I'm horrible at lip syncing. It's definitely not something I do very often. And the winner is... Taylor McCurdy! She sounded like a really angry little elephant. What do you think? Yeah, I think there's bias in the final control. Final control might find the last frogs of the season in their beds or in their shoes. Nice big bufo toad in your gumboots or your shoes to wake up as you slip that shoe on in the morning, Rebecca. That's what you can expect. But all of us here for Safari Live, thank you for joining us for the fantastic World Frog Day and all the wonderful cats. We'll see you tomorrow morning.